The United States just announced massive tariff increases on Canadian softwood lumber. And this is after 9 years of Justin Trudeau and his numerous useless trade ministers who have not been able to negotiate a softwood lumber agreement with the United States, even though the former Conservative government had a softwood lumber agreement which expired in 2015. There have been thousands of good-paying Canadian jobs lost, and with construction down for housing and costs up, this is only going to make things worse. Conservatives have been calling for the government for years to get to the table and negotiate a softwood lumber agreement. Watch the rest of my video, like and share.
There is no mention of the softwood lumber agreement in the throne speech. Canada has filed trade complaints against the United States in the past and won. However, when our local companies pay tariffs up front, it adds substantially to their immediate costs. The federal government needs to negotiate a softwood lumber agreement to end this dispute, give certainty to the industry, and get people back to work. But one of the other ones that I mentioned during my presentation was the softwood lumber. We don't have a softwood lumber agreement.
So, I mean, you can't give us concrete information as to when you're actually having meetings and how you're addressing this issue with your counterparts. We don't have dates. We don't know how many, how you're standing up for Canadians and forestry sectors.
Softwood lumber is a critical industry across the country in my home province of British Columbia and in the Okanagan. Workers in this sector have been looking for certainty and stability being provided to them through the finalization of a new softwood lumber agreement. The last softwood lumber agreement negotiated and signed by the previous Conservative government expired in October of 2015. Despite the Liberal Prime Minister pledging to negotiate a new agreement after they formed government, 6 years, 4 trade ministers, and 3 different U.S. administrations later, we are still waiting. Madam Speaker, the failure of this government to secure a deal on softwood lumber for 7 years is having a domino effect on people's lives. A representative from the BC Council of Forest Industries testified at the Trade Committee that a lack of a deal is helping to increase inflation. This is leaving Canadian lumber costs soaring and the prices of housing construction skyrocketing. When builders are struggling to start new housing construction, the Prime Minister increases the cost to build by not having a softwood lumber agreement, making the cost of wood used for construction more in Canada. We've lost hundreds of thousands of jobs in the resource sector. I'll give you one example is with forestry, for example. Canada has not had a softwood lumber agreement since 2015.